Welcome back to Where's the Manual? Self-publishing action number 4. The fourth action I planned on taking was to find a printing press to print my book, because I'm not doing an ebook. I'm actually going to have physical copies, and I sent about 10 to 15 emails out, and I got a couple responses, and I found myself stooped right away. Okay, so they asked me, I'm going to just read this to you. In order to quote you the best possible price, we have several questions we need to ask you. Please check and send your response. Thank you. Question 1, how many pages? Question 2, paper stock, parentheses GSM. Question 3, what type of binding? And, question 4, shipping address and roughly where your address is so we can get a shipping cost reference for you. The 4 different types of bindings that you can choose from. You've got a case binding. It's typically a hardcover book. It's got that crisp, heavy feel to it. You'll know this is a hardcover book traditionally. It's got a heavy, weighty feel to it. Definitely feels more quality. Highly durable. Attracts high retail price. It also costs more. The weight can be an issue with this type of book if you're getting it shipped, because that adds to your shipping price. The second type of binding is perfect binding. And you'll know those types of books. It's a soft covered book. It's a little lower of quality. It weighs less. It doesn't have a hard cover typically. It's an economical alternative to hardcover. It still presents a high quality feel to it. The con to this is it doesn't lay flat on tables when it's open due to the glue backing, and it's an inferior paper-based cover. Now I say inferior, but that may be the type of book that you want. Third type of book is saddle stitch binding. Now this is typically thinner books. You might see them in pamphlets or brochures. It's highly economical, much cheaper, typically smaller books. The con with this one is it's a little cheaper made, and that's not necessarily a con, but for my book it would be at this point, because I'm trying to put out the highest quality book I can in all aspects. They're a little less durable. The staples fall out and then you've got a bunch of pages. And the fourth type of binding is going to be a comb, spiral, and thermal binding. It's for short run books. These are the cheapest, probably least expensive type books, because you just print on paper and then you staple through the binding. And all 3 of these, they're generally not accepted for standard distribution. It's because pages tear out. I've chosen to do case binding because that is what I imagined for my book. And I will suffer in the price, but hopefully I will benefit in the quality.
Hello. Hey, I am trying to decide on which paper to print on. Do you guys have samples of a different paper stock there that I can check out? Awesome.
As for paper type, they use GSM, which is grams per square meter. I still don't quite understand that. I don't know how you've grabbed a square meter of paper and then weighed it. I don't understand that, but I do understand quality. And so what I did was go to the UPS store, and I asked for the reference page for those, and you'll be able to see the price. The higher GSM, the higher the price, the higher the quality. At, I think it's 160, it's considered card paper. Now this is UPS, I'm not getting printed from UPS, but theirs is a good reference point of how the cost goes up. The thickness of the paper, I'm going with a 150 GSM. I'm going to use gloss because I like that sheen, I like that thickness. I like a substantial book. But if I'm reading a book to my children, they almost always grab hardcover, um, thick, glossy, really shiny paper. Um, with the GSM, glossy typically will give you a higher quality of color. It does have that sheen, while silk, a little less quality. Still, typically, it's got a good amount of color in it. Maybe you're doing a novel. You might choose a lower GSM, 80, 120, whatever you choose. You should decide, and you should do a little research, on which paper you want, how thick you want it. Again, it will affect the prices. Lastly, I have started a GoFundMe. Funness. If you guys have any spare change that you want to throw out there, even just sharing it would be amazing. It's kind of super uncomfortable for me to request people to donate to me. I'll put the GoFundMe on the bottom in the description as well. And thank you again. Look forward to step 5 coming up soon on Where's the Manual Self-Publishing.